What up, Unstoppables? We have a great episode today, but real quick, we want to invite you to make the most important investment of your life. It's not a secret. There's no like smoke and mirrors. I'm not even trying to like pull a fast one on you. I'm going to be pretty straightforward. The best investment you can make in your life is in yourself. And the best way to invest in yourself is by investing in your network, putting time and energy, surrounding yourself with the best. You are the average of those you surround yourself with. In that Restaurant Unstoppable network, I've made it easy. Over the past 12 years and 1,200 plus episodes, I've been researching and talking to people and trying to figure out how do you become successful in the restaurant industry. And I've curated a network of tools, services, technologies, and individuals, experts that I would go to tomorrow if I'm opening a restaurant. And I'm bringing you to that network with live events, whether it be a workshop, a mentoring session, a power hour, or access to me twice a month where I just listen and steer you in the right direction, all happening at Restaurant Unstoppable Network. Head over to restaurantunstoppable.com/live. You also get this amazing access to all the recordings, RU Network podcast, which includes bonus ad-free and early release content. It also gives you access to our Unstoppable bot. It is a custom AI agent that is fed with 1,200 plus transcripts, over 2,400 hours of transcripts plus bonus content, all cross-referenced with our database. This is a powerful AI tool that you also get access to as well. What are you waiting for? Head over to restaurantunstoppable.com/live and we'll see you there. This episode made possible by Restaurant Systems Pro. With excitement, allow me to introduce to you today's guest, founder and president of the Miick Companies, 6-time, soon to be 9-time repeat guest on the show because I love him that much. Rudy Miick, my man. Rudy, are you feeling unstoppable today?
I am exceedingly unstoppable, sir. It's good to see you, Eric.
It's good to see you. I always get excited for our conversations. This is our first ever, I think, 3-part series where I've had you on. And we're going to be talking about the 3 elements that define excellence today, focusing on part 1, how to, vision, purpose, values, all of that as tools. And it's interesting because this is something that I feel like isn't groundbreaking. Everyone knows about the significance of vision, purpose, and values. Somehow, yet we struggle with actually executing on this stuff and looking at these things as tools. So I'm really excited to get into it. But before we dive in, let's get that motivational, inspirational ball rolling with a success quote or mantra. What do you got for us today?
My mantra on a daily basis is to be on purpose.
To be on purpose.
Yeah.
I love that. What does that mean to you, being on purpose? I say live intentionally, but I like being on purpose too. That's. I think I might have to steal that.
So tied to the very content that we're talking about this morning or today, is do I have a sense of purpose, groundedness, that ties to vision in my daily life? Do I have it for my company? Do I have it for my family? Tied to intentionality. So how do I be, in caps, uppercase, being decisive, being choiceful, being conscious, purposefully, so that my intention on a daily basis matches the hopeful impact, or that the impact actually matches, even more so, the impact matches my intention from morning through the day, through the evening, through the work, through my whatever my daily persona is focused on, that I'm intentional, I'm being on purpose.
Yeah. And I think that is a great, right? Yeah, 100%. I think that's a great quote to get today's conversation rolling too. Purpose being one of the big core fundamental frameworks that we're going to be unpackaging, but what triggers all of this? Let me ask you that. What triggers all this?
For me, early on in my career, what really made a difference in restaurant opening, right? Concept development, really choiceful performance on a daily basis. Coincidentally, in my world, it was in the world of restaurants. How to have us perform consistently, have us perform and exceed yesterday's performance, right? So that kind of picture became pretty obvious to me very early on in the world of work as a result of high performance in sports, high performance in various other life passions, right? For me, it was, in music, in sports, in learning, just being a voracious learner. So now come back to whether it's athletics or musical performance or stage performance, call it. And then it's not too much of a stretch to the world of work. And I personally, as a young leader and then a young manager, it just got really clear to me very quickly that putting the same fires out every day, time and again, and or hearing, nobody told me, right? Those kind of iterations on a daily basis, especially in restaurants, drove me crazy. And so the concept of, well, what if my restaurant was musical stage? What if it was an athletic field? How would we would prep? We would be
Rehearse.
Consciously
Practice.
Right? We would rehearse and time again. And in our world, we would call that training. The rehearsal would be training, right?
Right.
So we define what excellence is. We rehearse it, practice it. The stage goes up the second we turn on the lights and open the door for business, right? That is the performance. And then post-production or post-meet or, athletic pursuit, we would debrief.
Watch film,
all of those metaphors that we take for granted as we're watching whatever sport, passion, performance that we love. That process, repeat, rinse, improve, do it again, and just keep raising the bar, became very clearly, well, why are we in business in the first place, right? And so you and I have had the conversation many, many times of Simon Sinek's work around the golden rings and golden circles and what's the magic why, what's the magic how, what's the magic what. And in my world, way earlier on, a couple decades earlier, that same language construed itself as purpose, guided by how, the values, to accomplish what? Incredible service, incredibly effective quality and consistency, and then raising the bar on a daily basis. With Bob Sloop in our audience today, and the mastery of Kaizen from a martial arts place, it's identically the same picture of I go from a white belt to name the colors, ultimately to a black belt. And on one level, black belt is considered, that's the mastery. And in fact, black is, I remember when my daughters got their first degree black, and the senseis would go, now you're ready to learn, right? Yeah. It's not the culmination, it's actually the doorway to begin real learning. So that acumen of continual education, continual growth in menu production, service, right? All the crazy stuff our industry's gone through, pandemic, post-pandemic, recessions, etc. We're constantly using the words pivot or shift or whatever, and all of that is much easier when we're grounded with why are we in business in the first place? We can talk more about that, right?
Yeah.
Guided by what values, etc. So
I love that. And, hearing you talk about relating the restaurant industry to sports or theater or, what goes to my mind is the top performers, the gold medal winners, the champions, to train, to work that hard, to be the best in the hospitality industry and the restaurant industry. It's hard work. It's hard. It's really friggin' hard to be it's not even to be the best, to get by is hard. To be the best is like, you need something higher,
and
right?
it doesn't happen by, exactly. And it doesn't happen by accident, right? And so you're 100% correct. And so meanwhile, the great majority of the industry moans and groans about, oh, I can't find good people. Oh, people are the hardest part of the business. And that might be true in many respects. But to your point, purpose gives me the ability to inspire. Vision gives me the ability to inspire. Values, when we actually use them, is inspiring as well, right? So the process is how we're not just, even if somebody is just with me for a season in a resort environment, or the summer if they're going to college or going to high school or whatever the case may be, even if I just, whatever amount of time you're with us, we work inspired, we work on purpose intentionally to be the best.
Yeah, there's a reason why my mission statement is inspire, empower, and transform, because it starts with inspiration. It starts with, here's where we're going and here's why we're going there. Are you coming with us?
Right.
And I think, like, and that's the whole idea. Like, if we can inspire the industry through the education, the knowledge, and empower them with people like you, and inspire them with the stories of other operators, and help people understand that we have transformative power in this industry. We can transform communities. I don't know. I'm going off on one of my tears. I apologize, but it's good. It's important stuff we're going to unpackage today.
Well, 100%. And, as we talk about these significant foundation tools for a brand, right, that define our business culture. To your point about inspiration, I would say all of this actually starts when we're looking for candidates, when we're looking for A-plus players, whatever that might mean in a given concept or segment of our business. My first criterion is this applicant passionate? Are they full of passion, or are they just kind of dead eyes and dead energy? I don't care what they're passionate about, but I want to see some kind of fire in their eyes and fire in their energy. And from there now we find purpose and ground it and move it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, we got to stick to the framework here. I could just spit and fire with you. I'm already having fun. So I have a note here to ask you, what's the trigger, right? And under that, you see strategy, structure, culture. Get into that before we start diving into.
Well, early on as an operator, early on as a student of leadership, a student of high performance, I was mentored and learned very quickly from some amazing other business owners and coincidentally Olympic coaches. From a 50,000-foot view, there's really three drivers for brand and frankly for culture. So it's at 50,000 feet, whether we're McDonald's, we're Microsoft, we're Apple, we're Hooters, we're Cracker Barrel, name some of the brands that are waving in the air out there in the moment, and have incredible opportunity. From 50,000 feet, there's really three drivers. I've got an existing business culture. It might be conscious, it might be unconscious. That is just kind of ad hoc, right? Not really thought through, but the culture exists in the business on a daily basis, either by accident or intentionally. So the first question is, am I happy with what we're doing in my business? And the stuff that I'm happy about, I want to maintain, right? The stuff that I'm not so happy about, I want to improve or change or shift. So I look first, to your point, from, again, 50,000 feet, think about culture as the foundation. There's strategy, there's structure. So I'm happy or I'm not happy with the existing performance. We create strategic planning to Oh, we need more training. Oh, we need new equipment. Oh, we need a coat of paint. Oh, we need whatever it is we need, or we need to stop some behavior that we're doing, right? We're out of cash. We're not hitting our margin. We're whatever it is.
So strategy is where we want to go and how are we going to get there?
So there's lots of thinking, and everybody on this in the audience understands strategic planning, right? There's thousands and thousands of books on strategy. The irony is strategic planning about 85% of the time fails because the existing culture snaps back the new strategy. There's so much gravity in the habit that we've had for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever our age is. There's so much habit that strategy on its own will tend to snap us back like a rubber band. So the key piece of this is structure that supports the strategy to move the culture.
Okay, so now we have culture, we have strategy, and we have structure. Get into structure a little bit more.
So the structure is where purpose shows up. Oh my God, structure. So structure might be a brick and mortar building. It might be, are our windows clean or dirty? It might be, are our door handles? I'm with a client right now that, you know, hey, on the doors into the restrooms, the door handles are loose. What is the signal to the guests about that, right? So something as tiny as, is my doorknob loose? What is the signal that sends? Maybe I don't care, maybe I do care. So that brick and mortar, door handles, tabletops, that is structure. Which POS, what's our tech stack? All of that is structure. But now go deeper. How we behave with each other, how we treat each other, the way we give each other feedback is also structure. So can we put a system in place that says, here's how we're going to treat money. Here's how we're going to treat raw product. Here's how we're going to treat each other. And we begin to build systems and structure that supports the strategy, because every day we don't pull towards the vision of the company, the old habits snap us back. Because and think about this, everybody that's listening, a 40-year-old habit is way harder to break than a 2-day-old habit, right? It's got much more bandwidth. So we're constantly using, sense of purpose to ground us, values to help our decision making. That's actually how we're used. They're not just platitudes, right? So structurally, purpose, values, vision, mission, the way we communicate is exactly as articulated as the way we treat our cash, the way we treat a descending budget, right? We call it daily costing, right? Whatever a declining budget series is, right? Fred and other sponsors, Bob's on the call. Declining budgets, we live by, and we look at our numbers every single day. That would be part of the structure as well.
Yes.
To support and now track daily, weekly, monthly, year to date, all against budget. That is the performance and conscious attention to improve. Right?
Yes.
All of those pieces become structure.
What up, Unstoppables? This episode is made possible by Restaurant Systems Pro. If you are a listener of Restaurant Unstoppable, I know you've heard me mention Restaurant Systems Pro, but just in case you haven't heard of it yet, it is a all-in-one enterprise solution. All the most critical systems that will help you become profitable. I'm talking about costing. I'm talking about inventory management. I'm talking about budgeting. I'm talking about labor management. I'm talking about training. The list goes on, all under one roof, tied to your general ledger, and they have their own POS, and they integrate with nearly every major POS out there. Restaurant Systems Pro is an amazing tool, and this is the thing that gets me really excited. When you join Restaurant Unstoppable Network, you get access to the CEO of Restaurant Systems Pro, Fred Langley, twice a week for a P&L Power Hour. He literally will let you open up your P&L, share it on the screen, and he will help you close the gaps and increase your profitability. You do not have to be a Restaurant Systems Pro user to benefit from these live events. He doesn't care. We're just here to help you. Head over to restaurantunstoppable.com/RSP to get the full playlist of every Restaurant Systems Pro episode, a link to all the testimonials. And if we haven't sold you on Restaurant Systems Pro by then, I don't know what else to do. But if you really want to up your Restaurant Systems Pro experience, be sure to join Restaurant Unstoppable Network too. All right, guys, one more time, head over to restaurantunstoppable.com/RSP. Right. So strategy is how to get to where we want to go. Like prioritizing the things that need to change. Like we have what we like, we know what we don't like. How do we change what we don't like? Structure is one word that comes to mind when I think of structure is the standards and the systems to maintain those standards. And I think you hit it on the nose. We don't have systems for how to communicate. One of the reasons why I love EOS so much is because that is literally a system to communicate where we're going, and it's a company beat, it's a company pulse. And I know you have systems for this too, Rudy. Then, one thing, again, the three things we're talking about right now before we dive in further is strategy, structure, and culture. And you didn't really unpackage culture. People might be thinking to themselves if they listen to this, but the thing is, everything that you just shared with us is culture. And I think that we think of culture as like what we say we are, but the reality is culture is what we're literally doing every day.
100%. And we can talk all day long about who we think we are, but our behaviors actually are the data, right? And no matter what we say, what we do, and the ripples from what we're choosing to do is the culture. And again, so from strategy, structure, culture, am I happy with what I've got in my brand? Because the culture is, right, one of our big trademarks is culture drives brand. And only in the last few years have we even really finally figured out, culture is
brand.
The way it is brand. Exactly. Right. So the brand execution is a result of those strategies supported by structure, and a daily part of the culture is we actually go back full circle. Have we used the values? Have we made I statements? Are we talking about data, or are we all in, drama hookups and pointing fingers and othering, which is happening all over the country and all over the world, and it's easy to slide into? How do we shift those its and that's and those things to definitive data that we can track like we would basis points or tenths of percents with our money, with our margins, and speak in the same way? And those, again, all of this stuff intermingles. The strategy is, treat each other with dignity and respect. The structure is, do we actually do that? And if yes, then the culture shifts, and it shifts, and it shifts, and it shifts. We just get better and better and better the higher we perform.
Yeah. So, and I want to echo something that you shared that I thought was super powerful. Purpose guides us, purpose grounds us, values guide us, and vision pulls us. Purpose, purpose grounding us. That is our why. That is the thing that we go back to. That is our center line, right? Values are the filter, literally every decision we make. Can it fit through this filter of values? And then vision pulls us, okay, this is where we're going. And it kind of brings everything in. Like, this is where we're going. Does it go through the filter? Yes. Is it serving our purpose? Yes. And how do we show up to get there? Like that pulls us. And I think all these three, like, we talk about these things, but we don't really always put them together and see how they all kind of work together. And I love that. Just simple: purpose grounds us, values guide us, vision pulls us.
Well, exactly. Here's this tiny little rubber band, right? Yeah. The vision pulls, the value, the purpose grounds us, vision pulls, and yes to what you said, just like this little kind of each side of the rubber band, every day we pull consciously towards the vision that we're headed, we move the company. We move consciously, right? But if we don't pull towards that goal grounded, the rubber band snaps back into the old habits. And here we go again. Hey, what do you mean you don't understand counting the inventory? What do you mean you don't understand shelf to sheet? Let's back up, try it again, right? How was how we just spoke about a topic equitable, not just equal, but equitable to each team member, right?
I think we've laid the foundation pretty well, Rudy. So let's get into more of the details here. So,
cool.
We talked about what key steps, the why, purpose grounds us, values guide us, vision pulls us. We defined purpose. We defined vision. Or sorry, I'm all over the place with my notes right now. I'm trying to keep up.
Well,
we defined strategy. We defined structure, and we talked about how culture is all of that. So let's get into the first thing. Do you want to talk about purpose or vision first? What do you think makes sense?
Well, I'm good either way. There is thinking, right? That, hey, I want to start with vision first. Where do I see myself out here in a decade? And what is this thing that pulls me? Again, literally. So vision is very potent, and the more definitive I can have vision be out here in the future, I can set my sights on that, right? Another way, my personal preference is to actually think about, why am I doing this concept? So if we stay specific to restaurants, why this concept of all concepts? Why this footprint? Why this price point? Why this tech, right? What is it that we actually provide beyond food and beverage, or through food and beverage, through our delivery mechanism, doesn't matter if it's carry out, delivery, catering, pop-ups, doesn't matter, fine dining, full service, Michelin, beard, doesn't matter. The process is, why this, and how does this purposeful choice on my part become the tool I'm going to grow to be this thing out here in the vision, right?
So let's start with purpose. Or are we starting with vision? Well, we're doing both right now.
We are doing both.
Okay.
Let's start with purpose. You and I and many of the folks in the audience have heard it, certainly Miick talk at Miick, we talk constantly about the definition of the word restaurant. And amazingly enough, right, so many of us in the industry actually don't know that definition. And Danny Myers and Will Guidera and just so many brilliant people in our industry talk about hospitality all the time and treating people really well, and this grace that comes when we're hospitable. And as an early restaurant owner, way before I became a consultant, as an early operator and chain owner, I love dictionaries. And so I looked up the word one day, restaurant. And the actual root of the word restaurant is a place one goes to be restored. You and I have talked about this so many times. And restaurateur literally translates, the root definition is literal translation to, I am a restorer of soul. That's purpose. So I don't care what my check average is, I don't care what my concept is, have we just impacted my client, my guest, my customer, my neighbor? Have we impacted their life, not just fed their belly? And how does even the handoff of my product create an experience that says, oh my gosh, come back, right? Yeah. So we talk all the time about trial, capture, frequency, right? And then loyalty. Well, in my career, time and again, every single restaurant's got their own purpose statement. Every one of our clients does. And somehow it relates to how do we in our consciousness restore the soul? How do
Yeah.
we impact our neighbors? How do we impact our team? How do we, right? How do we provide value?
Yeah. Can
So
I go on a
that's
tear?
where, yeah, go ahead.
So like, just what's going through my mind right now as you're sharing this, and I think sometimes people think I'm crazy when I say my mission is literally to change the world. Like my why is to change the world through inspiring, empowering, and transforming the industry. And I think when I hear those words restore, I think the industry needs a lot of restoration. I think that when you think of like what is the root of the word restaurant, to restore, into like the restaurateur is a restorer of souls. I think that we've gotten away of what it means, the purpose of the industry, right? And when I think of that, I think of like, what were restaurants 100, 200 years ago? They were literally the center place, the soul of a community. If you were a colonial, like in the colonial times, like if you wanted to start a town, the first thing you had to do was build a public house in that town. Like that's where pubs came from. And the purpose of that public house was to literally to be it was where you got your mail. It's where you got your entertainment. It's where you got your food, your restoration, your spirits, your camaraderie. It was the center of the wheel, and
Well,
I think we've forgotten how much we need that in society. Like it's not there anymore.
well, and how about now, right? What if my restaurant, right? And Schultz at Starbucks, with all the challenges Starbucks has got, what a brilliant concept way back when Starbucks started with, and Schultz just puts out, hey, we're going to be the third place. We are going to, right? And to what you're talking about historically is the hearth, right? For all of us know, right? When we have a party, when we're lucky enough to be home, and or we've chosen to be home, the party is in the kitchen, right? Well, there's the hearth, right? Literally the fireplace, the place that all the cooking is happening. There is the hearth. There is the center. And so, again, to your point, no matter the check average, no matter what it is I'm purchasing, to me, when I think of a concept, my mouth starts to water, right? I see it, I smell it, I take the first bite, and I just go, oh,
yeah,
God, right? It's great to be back.
Yeah, and go ahead.
Go ahead.
So what I bringing it back to purpose, this idea of restorer of souls. What I love about that is there's 1,000,001 different ways to restore.
100%.
And I think focusing on that, there's literally what is the change you want to see in the world?
Yes.
What is what is that thing for you, and how can you use that thing to restore and create community around you back to purpose?
Right.
So how to build, how to train, and how it actually use these things, like get into that. So how do we build purpose? How do we train purpose?
Well, let's actually talk about those tangible pieces, right? Okay. Let's put hammer some nails into some wood, screw some screws in. Headline one, if we've defined, at least in my experience, so we've got purpose, we've got values, we even have vision. The question is, are we using them? And most companies, forget restaurants, most companies don't. We have them. They're up on a wall, or they're in a file cabinet somewhere. They've been defined, but we actually don't know. We're not very good at using the tools. So let's talk about how to build
We lack
them.
structure.
We lack structure within the strategy of, hey, I've got the stuff. Good call. Good call, dude.
I'm trying to keep up with you.
Okay. So first and foremost, think about for everybody listening, whatever my concept is, I have some sort of dish area, some sort of place that we're cleaning. And in typical spots, no matter what the concept is, if there is a dishwashing area, a pot area, that the person that's working that station is typically the lowest person on the totem pole, right? And in an awful lot of places, we'll wing a plate at them, or we'll push everything in, And maybe that's where we swear to blow off steam, or the language isn't always pretty in those places. It's not always the easiest place to work, and all of us know it. But imagine we can't restore anybody's soul. We can't do anything purposefully with dirty glasses, with dirty plates, with dirty flatware, whatever. So what if this person looks like a dishwasher or a prep cook, but they're actually a restorer of soul? And so the respect starts there. Oh, I've got a host. I've got a phone person. I've got whatever my concepts are, line cooks, bartenders, whatever, bar backs, doesn't matter what the job is. Oh, this person is a restorer, and that's the end game for them, but they look like a host. They look like a bartender, whatever, okay? So if that's the outside result, how do we get there? So here are 3 steps for us. I'm kind of giving away this is some free info, our choice in how to use these as tools. If I'm in a startup and it's just me and you, Eric, right? We're the 2 partners, then we'll probably do our purpose and our values together. But if I've been in business for 8 years, 9 years, 10 years, 20 years, who cares? I might, and what we highly recommend is take a diagonal slice of the team from highest job to entry level job, right? Dish pit to managers, some representative group of folks on my team, and include them. So what in the definition of this work, right? It's pretty cool. High risk, but really consistently effective. And the criterion are, I don't care what your job position is, but I want as diverse a group as possible on the team. I want as much different attitude and action and background on that team from top to bottom. Most important is, are they passionate about the brand, and are they A+ performers, right? So if I can amass that team and collectively we work on the purpose, that is a powerful aspect.
Why is that so powerful? Why is that so powerful? When you pull other people in, how does it hit harder?
Well, here's what happens. And I've literally had owners before. So typically for us, this is a 2-day extravaganza, right? Even with AI, it's an extravaganza. It's a serious piece of work. I've had owners, some serious players in the industry, that will get frustrated, and halfway through, they'll write out the purpose and go, this is, I think, where we're headed. Or you go, okay, bear with me. Hold off for half a day. Don't throw that away. Hold on to it. At the same time, let's see. My bet is the team is going to develop a stronger purpose than this. Let's see. Inevitably, this happened, without exaggeration, 4 times that I can remember. I was going to say 3, but there's actually 4, not more. But in those cases, when we get to the culmination of here's the purpose written by the team, the owners look across the room at me, kind of get a Cheshire Cat grin, crumple up their paper and throw it away and go, these guys just blew it out of the water for me.
But go ahead. I think the power of having your team come up with this now, how much more likely are they to buy into something that they help create? Now it's not coming down from the top, but it's coming from within.
Welcome. You're so smart, right? And so here, the process of this is now the fireside story, right? If we're sitting around the campfire telling stories about how our company started or how we have evolved, now imagine that storytelling, and we can literally 3 years from now, even with turnover, that we call it a mission team to work on purpose and then work on values, we can tell the story that, oh no, Henry and Jose and Julia and Juliana and Marie all had a voice in this, right? And we had every position in the company participate. That is a robust piece, as opposed to, yeah, I'm Moses bringing the 10 Commandments down.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
what I love about this too, when we think about how do you scale culture, it always comes from, you know, and if I'm talking to, I think it was Chris Schultz, if I get that name incorrectly, I apologize, but he was a part of the Starbucks team, and he says you have to take your culture carriers, and they are the people that go and open your next location. But I think this idea of culture carriers starts at location number 1 in defining what your culture is. And that, to your point, like you're taking the slice and you're taking the A players throughout your organization. These are the culture carriers relative to the work that at every point of our organization, and they're steering the ship. So like identifying your culture carriers from day 1 to define your culture, and then those culture carriers become the bench for location number 2, 3, and 4, right? Because
or 6, 7, 8, 9,
yes.
or 19, 20, 21, or 41, 81, 101.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, it's fun. We're getting a little off subject, but I like doing this, so we're going to make it happen. So you and I think we've had conversations about Dunbar's number in the past, have we not?
Uh-huh.
So Dunbar's number is this idea that we can handle between 100 and 200 relationships as a human species, as this human primate. And as our brain gets bigger, we can handle more social relationships. But on average, it's about 150. What's cool is that as we're scaling our organization, and there's this book called The Social Brain, and it's written with Robin Dunbar and 2 other business people. And they found that as you're scaling an organization, there's this number that we tend to like stall at. And it lines up perfectly with the restaurant industry. How it translates is at like 3 or 4 locations, we tend to stall, and we have to slow down. And then we have to scale really fast to get to like 10 to 12 locations. And then we have to slow down. And then we have to scale really fast to get to 30 locations. And the reason for that is because we need to build up our culture carriers.
Yes,
because we have to build up the relationships,
Yeah.
you know? So anyway, I guess where I'm going with this, like just that idea of identifying, and this is what triggered the thought in my head, that idea, the significance of identifying your culture carriers from day 1, and building them up, you know, and echoing their voice and their values. Go for it.
Well, so again, we're tap dancing around how do I implement so that we actually get traction to do what you're talking about, right?
Yes, but it starts from 0, like, or 1 location.
100%. And it's far better off to do it at number 1 than number 20.
Right.
But wherever you are, start. Right. So the one of the big failures, we've done purpose. We've done God values. Yeah, well, what are they? Let me look them up. Right. So the storytelling stops. We get in the heat of the shift, the heat of the battle, the heat of the performance, and we forget, as opposed to letting those, what you're talking about, here's a concept. Instead of 10 culture carriers, I want everybody in my team to be a culture carrier. And it's so robust that we're speaking on a daily basis. In our nomenclature, or in our vocabulary, are the values. So let's back up again. Purpose or values, 4 criterion. Have the purpose be a verb, have the values be a verb. So we communicate how. So is there I'm jumping to values real quick, but is there a value for each contact point with guests and team? Marketing, communication, training, growth, fiscal, diversity, if it's interesting, environment, if it's interesting, if it's in alignment with, I don't want a sustainability value if I don't believe in sustainability, God forbid. But hopefully we do, and hopefully we're awake. But the process of, are there values that touch? Think of our purpose as the hub of the wheel. Values are the spokes of every touch point of the wheel as it rotates in the whole system of the company. Now, 4 criterion, how do I write these? because there's a whole bunch of folks that would say it doesn't matter. I think it does. In my experience, it does. What's been effective for us is this. As opposed to having a single word, there are a lot of players that love single word values, and they're there and, oh, okay, we have integrity, honesty, whatever, respect, quality, profit. Okay, they're out there. Those ideas are out there. How do we talk about them? Another way is to talk about or write out, we are in business, the letter or the word to provide community. Except that's way out here instead of here. So how we treat this at Miick, what we bring to the table is individual and collective I statements. So whose value is this? We, our, each of us. So we communicate openly, honestly, treating each other with dignity and respect. Okay, so that collective I, the we, actually connects you and me to the value. It's not to, it's we do this. Written so that I can go to the singular I do this. So each one of us and all of us, we, collective. Take out any wiggle room. Think about how often we see, a value or a purpose. We strive to do this, or we believe in. I call those wiggle rooms. So we get rid of all the wiggle, all the loose. Forget strive, forget try, forget believe, forget attempt, forget to someday, right? What we communicate, we train, we are fiscally healthy. So even if we aren't, we're actively working to get fiscally healthy because that's our value.
Yeah. And I'm thinking of Dr. Benjamin Hardy right now in his book. I always say Be Tomorrow You Today, but I'm pretty sure that's not the title. That's like the way I like to say it. It's like Be Future You Now, I think is the name of the book. And in that book, he talks about the power of language and how to manifest and like to be that, to not say like, well, next week, we're too small to do these exercises. We'll do that later. We're too small to do a budgeting and costing and inventory weekly. Like we're too, like we'll do that stuff later. Like those are big company things. No, you mother effer, do that now, do it now. Like
do it today, man.
We are fiscally responsible. And then when you start like speaking like this, the power of language, like you show up differently. Like Be Tomorrow You Today.
We, from day one, right? The day of opening, restaurant number one, day one, first thing to do, inventory.
Yeah.
What is our starting inventory?
Yeah, but it's just
period.
Like you'd be amazed. I mean, I don't have to tell you this, Rudy, but people write to me and like they're interested in some of the tools I promote, like let's say Restaurant Systems Pro, and they're like, well, I don't know if I'm ready for that now. And it's just like, when are you going to be ready to do these things?
Right.
Like that's what a successful operation does. Like it's not like you don't get ready for it. Like you start doing it, and that's how you become successful.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, I digress. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, and most of us understand this, I think, in the business. The kiss of death is inconsistency, and the second is lack of discipline. So the discipline to choose what we're doing and do it to the best of our ability and figure out tomorrow, how do we get even more effective, right? And if we can measure it. To your point about EOS a little bit ago, EOS is such an amazing structure of what should I be doing, right? In terms of checklists and stuff and format, but we've still got to decide what it is we're doing to move a rock, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever it is. We've still got to do the work to fill in the blanks. So, okay, We can do that whether we're using EOS or not, but or same thing, if Restaurant Systems Pro, if I don't have the budget for it yet, I can still count inventory, track it, create a declining budget, and set aside money to get RSP as fast as I can get it. Right.
Right. To add more structure. Right.
Right.
Because
Exactly.
it provides that structure for you. You can build the structure, or you can plug it in.
Yeah. Exactly.
So go ahead.
Well, so back to the structure. So collective I, present tense. So we are fiscally healthy. We communicate this way. We train and grow through ongoing development, right? Whatever the statement is, present tense, no wiggle room. And the value or the purpose is a verb.
Yeah.
So now we put those tools in place on a daily basis. And here's a little secret on how to use purpose and values on a daily basis. What's the issue? So instead of me being the firefighter, we train this stuff to our teams. Starts in the interviews, starts actually in the job posts, talking about the culture, talking about purpose and values, shows up in the interview, shows up in orientation, shows up day one by providing feedback that is values driven on purpose to get us to the vision. Okay. From that perspective, we have a tool called IVS decision making, issue value solution. We ask 3 questions. What's the issue? Team member. What's the issue? Which values in our company apply to that issue? How does the purpose apply? What would be the behaviors from those values and our purpose? Name them. Go do that, report back.
Right.
On to the next thing.
Yeah. So like in the language that I understand, that's kind of like the rock. Like, what is the benefit of achieving that rock? How is that going to move us towards our vision?
100%.
Right? Like, what is the strategy? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
what's the structure?
Yeah. Yeah. Structure.
And suddenly we've got team members that are passionate, on purpose, making decisions guided by our values rather than a policy manual, and inspired to figure out what performance is. What does clean mean? What does quality mean? What is the spec? Whether we're making a burger patty or we're cutting a steak or we're doing ramen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So speaking of structure, we had some structure set aside for today's conversation. And I know whenever Rudy and I get talking, it's just like, I love talking to you, Rudy. So I want to make sure if I'm referencing, this structure that we had laid out in front of us. So I feel like we've been bouncing around a lot, but it's all been great. So don't get me wrong. But okay, under purpose, values, and vision, right? We're going to be talking about how to build, how to train, and how to actually use these things. We were just talking about values, right? How to build your values using verbs.
So whether it's purpose or values, the use would be the same.
Got it. So, have we gotten into how to train purpose?
What a great question. So training.
That's why I get paid the big bucks, Rudy.
Training starts, and this is again back to the mantra, be on purpose, right? What if, here's counterintuitive, what if training starts in the job post?
Okay.
So that I'm not hiring cooks, I'm not hiring bartenders, drivers, I'm hiring those positions but what I'm offering is, if you're not happy where you are and you're looking for a sense of purpose, for community, for a values-driven company, and you're in our industry or not, we've got these positions open, but what we're actually selling is our culture and our brand and the way we treat each other.
A purpose.
So if you, and on purpose. And so the story and the cool part of social media now and job posts across the industry is I can tell that story in a job post. And if all I do is post, oh, I need cooks, guess what I get? Cooks.
Right.
But if I tell the story about our purpose and our values and
where
we're headed,
yes,
and oh, by the way, here are a multitude of positions that you can apply to and live that way, come and check us out. So the story starts there. In the interview, I position questions, and frankly, we'll do a mini stage in the interview. We'll do 2 or 3 exercises. We're not just going to sit and ask some random list of questions. We'll actually go, hey, take a walk through the restaurant, come back with 3 things we could improve on, and move like it's a Friday night, or pick your busiest shift, a lunch gig, a drive, whatever it might be. Pick your busiest shift. Show me how you move on a Friday night. Come back with 3 things we could improve in our restaurant. Go.
Yeah. So can you believe we're almost at an hour of recording time? It goes by fast, Rudy. I love talking to you. So can we say that purpose has been unpackaged?
Okay.
Is that safe to say? Is there anything you want to bring to the surface in terms of purpose?
The things, so where I will bet I say something akin to, how does the purpose apply to this? Or how does the purpose relate to this issue? Or how, in what you're sharing with me, how does purpose apply? Some variation on those 3 inquiries, I'll bet I say 40 times a day.
Okay. Let me ask you this question. How does one find their purpose?
Start with passion. Start with, for those of us with a little bit of age, it's really fun, I think, to look back a little bit and figure out, where is the juice? Where is that thing that has inspired you or excited you in everything you've done over a period of time? Maybe you're only 20 years old, but as a little kid, 5 years, as soon as you were conscious, what are the things that excite you? And notice how they roll out. So for me, as an example, I realized, oh my God, I've been a guide, a sounding board, and a team member since I was as young. My earliest thoughts are about 5 years old or so. And I can look back and think there is a string that is straight as a snap line that leads me to, oh, I'm a teacher and guide, and I'm a learner.
Yeah.
That is my purpose.
Yeah.
Right? Which is why I do what I do.
This episode is made possible by Restaurant Systems Pro. And at Restaurant Unstoppable, we are huge fans of Restaurant Systems Pro. So much that we are partnering with Restaurant Systems Pro, and they are going live every other week, twice a month. They are going live in Restaurant Unstoppable Network. Fred Langley, the CEO of Restaurant Systems Pro, we will have access to him, and he will go through your P&L. You do not have to be a Restaurant Systems Pro client to take advantage of this. He will literally tear apart your P&L, and he will help you find the gaps so you can increase your profit by 5% or more. He is literally saving people's restaurants in Restaurant Unstoppable Network. If you want to take advantage of not just Restaurant Systems Pro, their budgeting, their costing, their inventory, their labor management, their training, their general ledger, all tied to your POS, this amount of data is insanely ridiculous. Beyond that, he's making himself available to coach you. This is all happening at restaurantunstoppable.com/live. We'll see you there.
And I can do that too. Like when I think of that, for me, like I remember looking at all my classmates when I was like in first grade and just thinking to myself, like all these kids are so good at stuff. Like Johnny's great at throwing the football. Like Sally can recite a poem from memory. Like that was a big deal when you were a little kid. Like all these like little things, like these talents that everyone had. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, wow, like just admiring the talents of other people and always wondering to myself, like, what's my thing? And it didn't hit until like my late 20s. Like I'm good at seeing what other people are good at. I'm good at giving purpose to other people. I'm good at connecting the dots. I'm good at promoting and connecting, you know?
So, yep. 100%.
And that's my purpose.
Well, and so here you are, right? So to me, passion leads me to purpose over a period of time. And it coming back to our business and in tangible ways that these ideas apply, right? I think of what is that crazy nuance that has some people love kitchen production and other people love being in the front, right? Guest facing. What is that thing that some people just love building, right? Or designing, right? Think of the design community out there that builds and designs kitchens for us, or thinks up equipment, right? Of just how do I do this better? And in many respects, for me on a personal level, my personal purpose is around finding a better way and becoming masterful at it and building trust and delivering trust that people can count on us, right? To do what we say we'll do. A kitchen person, some of us in the world are loving tweezers, right? You know? Well, some of us are loving, Jimmy John's. Just get a sandwich out, right?
The cool thing is we're all different, and that's the beauty of diversity, right? We're not all meant to be amazing at everything. We're meant to be good at what we're good at, but when we come together, we become unstoppable. Because we can lean on the uniqueness of each other.
And we have the grace to be able to see Tom and Ben and Bob on the call and stuff. And I'm loving Tom's smile as we're talking about this. It's cracking me up. Yeah. Right.
So go ahead.
Go ahead.
This is the challenge with doing remote interviews is there's that slight delay where you go for it. Go for it.
It's all good. So purpose is this thing that grounds me, and it's going to be a little bit different for each of us, right? Some of us are teachers, some of us are builders, some of us are mechanics, some of us love numbers, right? Well, I love hitting my financial results. But when I'm so fortunate to get to work with Bob Sloop, he goes wild when he gets 2 pennies to balance, right? I love that, right? I just he's hungry for that, right? It's so fun.
Yeah, I think that they say that the peak of emotional intelligence is self-awareness, and I think that this is why it's so important as leaders to tell people what they're good at, because we help them become more self-aware. And I think it's that universe giving us that feedback constantly over time where we just let somebody know what they're good at because they might not be aware of it until you tell them, right?
Well, and so that may go back to values. Okay, here's this purpose. One of our values might be giving feedback like you just named, Eric.
Yeah.
Right? Is I want a robust, think of the different energy in a restaurant. If I've got a coach, a manager that's acting like a cop, slapping hands, hey, you're not doing this, you're not doing that, hey, you guys are, right? Do this, change that, as opposed to a coach that is going through, nice carry, great eyes, oh my God, what a great greeting.
Feedback.
I love that you went back out and wiped down the glass front door. Thank you.
Subconscious feedback. Like that stuff, it compounds.
It's conscious feedback. It's data-based, right? Those would be an example of a value in the way we coach or the way we communicate. And we'll watch, instead of watching loyalty, forget loyalty of guests. We want loyalty of guests, get it in my team. I'm not going to drive loyalty with hand slapping. What I will build is engagement through catching people doing something right and then building on it.
I love it.
To take your performance further, do X.
One more question around purpose, and then I want to focus on vision and values. And we have a good show up today, so I want to make sure these people can engage you and ask their questions. We got to think about wrapping it up.
Thank you.
Do you think? Tell me if you agree or disagree with this, and I don't want to spend too much time here. But do you think a good way to find your purpose is to ask you this question, or ask yourself this question: What am I willing to die for?
It's a great question. I don't know that that's purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would go, what is the gift I bring? Or what is the common thread? So as a worker, as a manager, as a director, as an owner, what is the common thread in my behavior? What is the thing that gives me, I call it juice. What is the thing that excites me? What is the thing that makes my eyes tear?
Pop out of
ever
bed
so
every morning.
Slightly, right?
Yeah, got it.
To me, that would be purpose.
Got it. Okay, so vision, have we dove into how to build this and how to train this? Has this come out of the conversation?
No, not yet. So I mean, we're, in my world, again, vision, very similar to values or purpose. Vision can be, or is supposed to be, 3 sentences or 1 sentence, or maybe it's a little tagline thing. In my world, vision might be 2 or 3 paragraphs, but I want it to be, 20 years ago, we might have done a 10-year vision. The world is moving so fast now that I think 3, not more than 5 years out, because things are changing so much. But purpose, if we do it right, will last hundreds of years. Values, at least a generation, 2 generations, maybe 3 generations. We might tweak them a little. Vision, if we build a 3-year vision, typically we'll achieve everything in 2. So we do another vision. Oh, how do we use all these tools to do the next step, right?
Yeah.
You were talking about 20 restaurants, 40 restaurants, etc. So to me, the vision elements are data. How much money? How many restaurants? How many people have we graduated? Notice that language. How many people have we graduated? What is our what am I doing for fun? How many months of the year?
How much money am I making?
Exactly. How much
time do I have off? How much time does my staff have off?
Bingo. All of those pieces would be then vision elements. And so the vision is sitting here, and we've all heard about imaging and imagination, putting pictures up on a mirror in the morning, whatever. That quantum physics and brain physiology, field theory, I'm a believer in. We've seen it work time and time again.
So imagine those vision elements are out here every day again, and we are moving towards the vision on purpose, guided by our values.
Got it. I think your headphones might have...
Second.
Yep.
Okay, I'm back, I think.
Perfect. So one way I like to think of this, I think as we're looking further out, like imagine standing in the middle of the desert, you can see a horizon, right? That horizon might be your 10-year vision or your 20-year vision. It's very faint. You know that there's trees over there. I think your far out vision can be kind of blurry. It's like a general, okay, this is the direction we're going. But as you get shorter in time, your vision gets clearer, because your 2-year, your 3-year vision, you can see that's much closer. You can tell that there's trees and palms, you can see what kind of trees they are. You can see that there's a little you can get more detailed the closer the vision is. But I think have you heard that analogy before? have a general vision of where you want to be and what your company wants to look like, generally speaking, in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But then as you get closer, your 2-year vision, your 5-year vision is a little more detailed. It gets a little bit more granular.
Yes.
KPIs, things like that.
On a personal level, on a company level, absolutely. Right. I might look out 20 years. What do I see? For instance, my company this year is 45 years old, and we are right now looking out 40 years. Where are we going to be in 40 years? That in the next 40 years. And, I doubt I'll probably be around 40 years from now, but I might be here in 20 years. So we'll see where that goes. But the focus is with our tools, with our process. Yes, exactly. Where do we take the company in the next 40 years?
Right.
And how do we do in the next 3 years to get us on that journey? 100%. That's exactly what we're doing.
And there's a good resource out there. I'm sure you're familiar with Ari Weinzweig and Zingerman's and the work that they do. In his books, Ari
is the ultimate vision first. He's the vision guy beyond, right? His career, my career, I've always started on purpose first. He consistently says vision first. Yeah. He's brilliant. So he's such a good guy.
Had him on the show to do a workshop on vision if you guys want to go deeper into this subject. And his book, A Lapsed Anarchist's Approach to Building a Great Business, those essays on vision are really great too if you really want to dive in deeper. And one more thought on vision. I think it's important that we do a vision for our business, but we also do a vision for ourselves. And how does our business serve the vision I have for myself? So you can reverse engineer that life you want. I think sometimes we forget to think about how do we fit into that role within our organization? How does our business serve me? So I think that's just the last thing I would add. And then in terms of training, do you want to mention anything on training when it comes to vision or how these things are used?
Well, so within the training structure, right? So we talked about as early as a job post. So then in the interviewing, here we are with talking about and referring to the purpose and the values and the vision of the company. Now here we come into training, jobs training. So 2 pieces with this. We train positions, not jobs. So the position of a server, typically in all of our research over the years, a server in a full service restaurant, whatever that means, full service, is doing typically 19 to 24 jobs. Same thing with a bartender, about 23 to 24 jobs under the position of a bartender. Hosts, about 18, 19, etc. So, and then forget managers, it's off the board. But the point of this is that at each of those jobs, the question becomes, how does the purpose apply? Which values apply to this job within this position, so that we're constantly values driven in the job to deliver our purpose and achieve our vision. So you've said a couple times on the call, we're kind of bouncing around, but all of these pieces in my mind were not at all, because these things are all tethered together. I work on purpose, driven by the values to achieve the vision. And in every single job, we are teaching and applying the purpose, the values. We're using what we call conscious communication tools to train those jobs on purpose, guided by the values. So literally the whole team is using the language of the values. We don't have to say, hey, go memorize this stuff. The memorization happens because we're using it. There's no dust on the purpose and values.
Right. And I think, that's the whole nother conversation on rituals and how we tie rituals into 100%. Communication to intentionally surface this language.
Right. And then one last piece about training, we'll do job 1, play it through experientially, play it through. What'd you do well to take your performance further? What would you do even more of? Now job 2, then we'll tie together 1 and 2 on purpose, guided by the values. Then 3, 1, 2, 3, all the way to 24. And it's almost like getting scripting or without a script with a dance move on purpose. That's how it works. And it works every time.
I love it. Okay. Should we move to values?
Sure. We can say more on values.
I mean, let me just ask you this. Is there anything we haven't talked about yet? Because I think you have kind of touched on a lot of these things, how to build, how to train, and how these things actually work. Is there anything we haven't brought to the conversation yet?
I think at this level of the process, the headline I would leave with is what I just said. I would reiterate again. The more I use the values in my language, the more the values show up. And the more I talk of them and use them, what's the issue? Which values apply? What are the behaviors? Do that. The more robust the values become, and people actually, our team looks forward to coming to work. And oh, by the way, culturally, here's an impact. If the restaurant typically has 140% turnover, 180% turnover, in a quarter, we'll be down to 20% turnover because people look forward to coming to work and getting feedback.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where I would go is, I think, to see what questions we've got in our viewer audience or listening audience. I think 100%. That might be interesting.
Yeah. And just one last question relative to values. Why do you think people struggle so hard just like getting that down to paper? I feel like people really are whether it be stating your vision or stating your purpose, I think values is the one that people really like wrestle with.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? And what is your advice to
I think there's two or three pieces. One, the biggest headline is this actually takes a little bit of time to actually get some quiet time and reflect on. And again, I think an activity that can really support is think through that hub and spoke piece of how do I communicate? How do we train? How do we treat money? What does clean mean? What does sustainability? What is environment? What is diversity? What are those things that are important to me and my company? And then ponder, okay, in communication, what do I believe?
Yeah. One exercise I recently went through that helped me, and kind of it's been 12 years of Restaurant Unstoppable now. Really kind of reflecting on like, what was it about me? What got me here? What is it that I do that is uniquely me that got me here? And I think that was a really great exercise for me personally.
Yeah, 100%. One of the other stumbling blocks for me, or that I watch time and time and time again, is we talk, and frankly at a USA level, where this is troublesome because we allude to American values, but we never really define them. And so we're in the midst of, without getting political on the show, we're in the midst of, in many respects, a values conflict of saying, what do I believe in? What do you believe in? Where can we join, right?
Yeah. And for the record, I think that is all engineered by outside influences. I'm just going to throw that out there, not to get political, but we're trying to be divided. There are people are trying to divide us right now. Put your freaking phones away. Talk to your neighbor. Sorry.
So here's a couple headlines. People talk, a lot of business owners. Oh, what do I respect? What do I really want? What do I value? I value loyalty. Great, except that's not a value. It's a result.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I value integrity. Yeah. Well, Hitler had a lot of integrity to his belief system.
He said he did what he said he was going to do, or he got really close to it at least.
He was right. Hitler did what he said he was going to do. He had integrity to his system. Pay attention out there. And so if I throw the word integrity out as a value, what integrity to what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So the definition of integrity, pay attention to, loyalty, trust, if you read Lencioni's work, Five Dysfunctions, and all of his other amazing books, trust is this big driver. Oh, wouldn't it be lovely to have trust as a value? But trust is a result, not a value. It's an outcome of behavior that is consistent, that I can count on, and that I appreciate. Loyalty is a result.
Yeah.
So what are the behaviors that will build loyalty? Those are values. The way we communicate, the way we train, the way we treat our buildings, the way we treat each other, et cetera, et cetera.
Got it. All right. So we got to wrap this thing up. This is, again, we are going to open it up to Q&A, but real quick, I just want to let our listeners at home know that this is part 1 of a 3-part series. We're going to be having you back next week. We're going to be talking about Cartman's, what was it? Drama triangle. Uh-huh. And then also conscious communication. And then the last part will be tying all these three things together. Your vision, purpose, values, Cartman's drama triangle, and conscious communication, and then how those 3 things tie together. This was a lot of fun. Rudy, before we say goodbye, how do we connect with you? What is the best way to reach out?
So the easiest way to connect with me is through. I'm happy to give you my cell. It's 720-641-7565. That's my direct line. And my email is rudy@miick.com with 2 I's, MIICK.com.
Yep.
And depending on what other apps there are out there, what you're working on, WhatsApp is my cell number as well. And Messenger, all of those things, LinkedIn profile, just look up Rudy Miick.
Yeah.
And any of those ways are ways to connect. And Eric, one last piece. Our next show with conscious communication and Cartman is more how to use the purpose, the values, and the vision.
Awesome. Our listeners are going to be jacked up on Rudy Miick by the end of this month. 3 back-to-back episodes. It's going to be good stuff. And Rudy has agreed to make himself available for mentoring sessions and power hours within Restaurant Unstoppable Network. I don't know if we got onto terms of when and how frequently, but this guy is spent a lifetime doing what he's discussing right now. To have you be a part of our community, to make yourself available to my community, my listeners, is just so impactful, man. And
thank you.
And if you
much.
do choose to work with Rudy on a full-time basis, he is willing and more than willing to support this mission by paying Restaurant Unstoppable a commission. So if you want to support this podcast, make sure that you mention to Rudy that it was Restaurant Unstoppable that helped you discover his work, and you're supporting our mission here to inspire, empower, and transform the world by transforming the industry. And thank you in advance. So we're going to say goodbye. We're going to open it up for Q&A. And if you were a part of Restaurant Unstoppable Network, you could be joining the conversation right now. We're going to open it up to our members who have joined us, and we'll say goodbye and see you next time.